Did you want attention?
I don't remember clamoring for attention because I think you always did give us a great deal of attention. I don't remember you working as when we were back from school. You didn't work. Um, I don't remember that. I just remember a sense of having an unusually quiet mother and the feeling that the rhythm of a writing life was so deeply part of our existence that years later, when I began to write, very many years later, um, I understood that what I had been experiencing was that extraordinary discipline of being a writer. Because I it felt so natural to me. I didn't have, and I was lucky in this because I see so many right part of being a writer is learning that discipline, learning that rhythm, and getting to be deeply familiar with that rhythm. Just having it's essential that it overtakes your life, and it has to overtake every aspect of your life. It has to be there all through the day, and that was not. I didn't have to struggle to find that.
Well, I'll put the same question to you. When Kiran says, this mother who would disappear every day when the children go to school, you would go and carve out that time to write. How difficult was it to maintain that discipline, to know that it was time bound in a sense because the children would come home from school, and just to keep doing it day after day?
Well, if the children were able to maintain their school schedule, I suppose that's the same thing that I maintained, because I trained myself to write once they left home and to put away the books and papers before they returned. And after that, I enjoyed being with them. And because the time was limited and I knew I couldn't overstep that, I think I made good use of those hours. People often ask me, how could you write when there were small children at home? The fact is that I wrote much more in those years than in the years when I had far more time to myself.
Because you knew how precious that time was.
Exactly. I was waiting for those minutes. Yes.
I was thinking that it probably also taught you discipline within your work, because I find I write so many variations and edit, and you often write a very clear manuscript.
No, I write several drafts actually, yes. But yes, I was aware that before the summer vacation began, I should finish this draft, or I would pick up the next draft when the summer vacation was over. So the school schedule was imposed upon me too, on my writing schedule.
And one of the obvious, enormous differences in the writing life is that when you start writing, of course, there's, as we've talked about, many other people who sort of look like us also writing out there. Rushdie's happened, Vikram Seth, all these people are writing. And as you've talked in your other interviews, you was writing when there were very few of those people around. But one of the persons who was there was Ruth Prawa Jhabwala. Can you talk a little bit about that relationship?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was going to do the same and tell you, living in Old Delhi, living a very quiet life with not much society around, and certainly not that of writers or even of artists, did make one feel very isolated. And it was a wonderful thing in my life that I discovered that this quiet young mother who used to wheel her babies in a stroller past our house in Old Delhi was a writer herself. And we got to know each other through our mothers, who happened to have coffee together one day. You didn't know that? Ruth's mother was visiting, so she was looking for somebody else to have coffee with, and asked my mother over. And then they discovered that they had daughters who were writers. And it was the most wonderful friendship, because although Ruth was older than me and already a married woman with children, She and her husband were so generous with their time and their sympathy. They would have me over to their house. I would borrow Ruth's books. At last, I had someone I could talk to about books, which was the most wonderful friendship a young writer could have, because through her I saw she's also writing about this scene, which I thought was a very limited scene, could be of no interest to anyone else. And when I read her books, I saw what she was making out of that material, and I thought perhaps I could do that too.